Hello, and today's episode was meant to be sunrise at the Forth Road Bridge. I started getting an inkling things weren't going to go to plan after checking the phone and finding it full of pink. Well, at least it's not blue, so it's not raining, right? So I poured myself a cup of 2-star inspiration using milk that kind of identified as yoghurt. And got all my bits together before checking the phone again and finding it was still pink before setting off. On the way to meet up with John, I realised that today was going to be a bit of a washout, which meant it was time for coffee and a discussion about our life choices. Turns out pink means white. Who knew? So we realised today wasn't the day for sunrise, so we said goodbye and I headed north out of the snow and into the rain, and I visited the V&A Museum. And after that I got to thinking, it can't stay like this forever, can it? But soon things were to change for the better. Well, I found this little fern just all on his own. What caught my eye is that he's very, very vibrant. I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but look how vibrant he is, just standing up against the rest of the foliage there. Now, what I did like was the way it stands out between the dark reds and oranges of the stalks of the green shoots that's surrounding it. And yeah, I don't know, it just stood out for me. So basically I've gone straight on, as you can tell. Gone straight on, and I've used quite a good sort of depth of field for this, so hopefully everything gets sharp right the way down through. It's almost symmetrical right the way down through the middle. So yeah, ISO 400, and there's not a breath of wind in here, so yeah. Well, I think this is probably going to be my last image from this area. It's getting so dark in here, this camera doesn't really show it up, but it's very, very dark now. So I'm going to start heading back to the car. But what I did do, as I was sort of circling around, I saw these pine trees had dumped all their pine cones onto the floor, and so we've got this huge, vast carpet of pine cones that have seen better days, but they just looked amazing, all the different colours. There's reds and golds and browns and all the rest of it in there. So I've put the macro lens on, and I've just been sort of like systematically going around this sort of like 5 metre area just to see if I could find anything that was photogenic, you know, something that might be really balanced or something like that. I don't quite know what I'm thinking, to be honest with you. But yeah, you know, I can see all these shapes on the floor, but it's just trying to work it out into a picture. Not sure that makes any sense, but this is probably going to be the last image that I get because it's getting too dark to do that. But yeah, I'll pop that up for you now. With Blue Hour fast approaching, it was time to return to the hotel,
but there was just one more shot to get. The next day arrived bright and blustery, so I headed down to the coast.
And we are at the seaside now. I kind of want to be where the water is coming over the seawall. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of an interesting one. It's blowing a hooligan here. It's quite warm, surprisingly, but yeah, where I want to be is right where the sea is coming over the wall. It's very over the other side of the wall, the seawall there. It is so blowy, but I'm hoping we'll have a good a good sunrise, but I'm not quite sure how that's going to pan out just yet. But yeah, we'll see. Now I kind of want to take a picture of this seawall sticking out just there, but as you can see, it's pretty rough coming in over there. And where I kind of want to be is just down there by that stairway. But the sea is coming over the wall there, as you can probably see by all the seaweed and stuff on the floor, just this side of the wall. It's yeah, looking a little bit sort of dodgy. So I'm just going to wait. I mean, the sky is looking really nice at the moment, and I'm hoping we might get a bit of colour. We're about 20 minutes away from sunrise, and yeah, I'm hoping the tide might have come in enough just to take out the power of the waves coming in over the wall, is my hope. And then I'll have to see about what risks I take for the image, because ideally I want a slow shutter speed, so the camera needs to be there for a while, and I'm not sure I want to leave it on the wall for any length of time. Man, this is nuts. So before sticking my head up above the wall, I've set the camera up already. I'm going to sort of like work through the settings that I think I might need. And then I've set the tripod up as wide as possible and as low as possible, because the wind is so extreme. As soon as you stick your head up above the wall, it's nuts. So I'm going to go for that, and then we're just going to go for a really quick shot if we can get it.
But as you can see by the raindrops that are peppering this image, that I did get struck by a wave. But I will revisit this composition later in the video.
Well, I'm not exactly giving it up for a bad job. I thought I was being a little bit foolish actually, because what I was basically trying to do is pre-focus the camera and all the rest of it behind the wall, to jump up on top of the wall and try and make the composition as fast as I could. As I was counting the waves, and I noticed every sort of 7 or 8 waves it would be particularly bad. So yeah, the idea was really to just get up there as quickly as I can, sort of a 2-second exposure, and see what came of that. So I probably took a dozen or so images, but I just thought I'd been a little bit foolish really. So yeah, I've come away from there. But let's go and have a look around the town. I mean, it's very early morning at the moment. It's a Sunday morning. It's very early. We'll go and have a look, see what we can find. Maybe a bit of street photography or something as we go and walk around the village. So I've just walked around the harbour. I was over there on that harbour wall just now. I think the tide's going out actually. So I've come over to the beach on the right hand side of the harbour, and this is the scene I'm looking at. Now we've got the waves coming up through the middle there. I'm basically waiting for them to come in. I'm taking the shot and letting the water run out. I've got a 2-second timer on there because I want to keep the detail in all the sort of rather white foam and all the rest of it. And I'm just basically focusing on that rock there and making use of this leading line, taking us right out to the horizon, just over here. And it's looking quite nice. So there's lots of beautiful sort of pinks and browns and stuff actually within the rocks. Stand up out the way. So I'm hoping those will render quite nicely in the image.
Well, not being happy with that image, I moved to the left and got this.
It seems to me the tide's going out at the minute, so I'm just kind of walking backwards and forwards around the harbour. So I'm going to come back to the initial place I was first thing this morning and see if I can get the long exposure shot that I was wanting. The water doesn't seem to be coming over this sea wall anymore, at least for a minute until I get there. Well, I did just get a little bit wet and my camera's now kicking off because any moisture in the air, the Sony just does not like it at all. So I keep getting this intermittent flashing screen, so kind of takes you out of the moment a little bit. But yeah, so what I've done, I mean, the sun's just breaking out now, just over here, look at that. So hopefully I might be able to try and make something of that by sticking my head above the wall again, maybe. Don't much fancy that. But what I've done is, I'll turn you around now, but I've put the 100 to 400 and I'm just basically trying to see if I can find anything of interest looking back into the harbour. And now I found these crab pots or lobster pots on the wall opposite. And let me show you what I've done. Okay, there you can see them just there, just lining up along there. And look quite far away here, but when you stick the 100 to 400 on, it tends to bring it up a little bit closer. So what I've basically tried to do is try and do a pano. What I've done is I've got the ladder that's in the middle of the pots on either side over there. I've basically tried to do a pano, and so what I've done is I've moved where you've got the rule of thirds lines on your screen. I've basically put the ladder on the right hand third, taken the image, and then just give the tripod a bit of a turn and just moved it across just slightly, and I just incrementally worked my way across until it hits the first third line, and that will then stitch together hopefully and give us this pano. So I just noticed the tide is going out a little bit at the moment, but what I've done is I've put the camera back on the tripod, back on the 100 to 400, and just got it just up above the wall, so it's not being affected too much by the wind. And I've just taken some rapid shots. I've got it at ISO 500, 800th of a second, to try and get the waves as it hits against the wall. Now there's not much to make a composition out of this really. It's just having the the waves do their thing. The sun has conveniently gone behind a cloud. It was backlighting the foam as it came over the top. but not anymore. Now you got the camera out. So I'm just trying to sort of try and make something of the end of the pier there. It's like a box structure at the end, just to give it some sort of sense of scale. And I've also kind of zoomed out a little bit so that I get some of the water in the foreground, just so you can see the differential between the wall and the sea and what have you as it comes over the top. It's just basically references, really. And I'm just sort of messing around with time, really, because I really need to be on the road to get back home. It's about 5 hours, I think, to get home from here. And so much to do this afternoon. So, I missed it. So, yeah, I'm just going to fire off a load of shots and see what we got with that. I'm not sure if it's going to be any good or not, but here's a couple of them. I think that's going to be it for me today. It's been an early morning. I've got like a 5-hour drive home now, so I'm going to get my gear. Day's not over. I know I'm going back through snowstorms and stuff like that, so if I see anything on the way, I'll pop that up for you in a minute. But if you've liked the images that you've seen today and you'd like to leave a like and subscribe and all those good things, and we'll do all this again next time. Bye for now.